guy. This is Reverend Paul Slatkus. Maybe you don't know that, but I conduct some of these weddings, and we're going to talk today.
I did not know. If I'd known that, I would have. Oh my goodness!
I could have done it.
We missed out.
Well, I missed out too because it's such a joyous occasion. We're talking with Susan Wiggs. Hi, Susan. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Okay, this is Paul Slatkus, Reverend Paul Slatkus. I'm also speaking to Elizabeth Wiggs Mass. Do I say your last name right, correctly?
Yeah, Wiggs Maas.
Wiggs Mass, because that's like a new name for you, right?
It is, and I'm glad that I have my husband's last name, but I'm sad that it's so hard to spell and pronounce.
Oh, okay, Mass? It's a big Mass. It's a good thing. It's a nice thing, but I understand. In any case, Susan, I'm just going to give, it's so powerful what's written on the back cover of your book here, How I Planned Your Wedding, that I'm going to actually read it for our audience, okay? And Susan, we've interviewed quite a few times, is an author in many beloved bestsellers, including the popular Lakeshore Chronicles, raised her daughter, I think that's Elizabeth, right, to be an independent, good-hearted woman. I love this. And a spectacular bride who believes in the magic of happily ever after. And visit Susan's website, susanwiggs.com. And then we have Elizabeth, right, Elizabeth? You're a graduate, Pomona College, and you have a blog. I am thebeholder.com, compendium of food, fitness, and fabulosity.
Indeed.
Now, that's hard to say. Has generated thousands of readers eager to follow her hilarious misadventures on the way to the altar. And they're hugging each other in the back of the book, but were you not always hugging each other in the process of planning a wedding?
I sometimes had to pry her fingers, out of my hair.
Yeah, if a chokehold counts as a hug, then maybe.
That's pretty funny. So tell us about the book and tell us why you actually wrote it.
Well, I moved to Chicago shortly after becoming engaged, and one of the first things that I learned as we began planning the wedding was that it's kind of a stressful process. It's not always fun and games, and there were times when I just felt kind of alone and just wanting to strangle my mother or, push my fiance out a window. And so I basically started blogging about it because I realized that not everyone wanted to hear every single detail about how stressed out I was and how much I needed to vent. And I guess, because I was so honest and sometimes unflatteringly honest about myself, a lot of people saw or could relate to what I was talking about and saw themselves in what I was talking about. And so, I garnered a fairly large readership, and from there, the publishers kind of took notice, and it certainly didn't hurt to have my mom involved, who is a veteran of the publishing industry. And we really set out to write the book basically as a gift to people who are planning their weddings or mothers and daughters who are going through, momentous events together. It's okay to feel stressed out. It's okay to have a meltdown about a cupcake or to freak out over a hair trial gone bad. It's really just most important to keep your focus on how much you love your mom, how much you love your future spouse, and make sure that that's really the light at the end of the tunnel. And so I'm hoping that when people read this book, they feel a little bit more connected to the process and even to the bad parts of it, and kind of just own that it's not going to be perfect, and that's what makes it all part of the best day of your life.
Well, I think the first thing, just because I know your mom, we've talked a lot of times, your mother's not afraid to share her thinking as well, and I think that maybe would have rubbed off a little bit on you, and it's great to share because we're all in this together anyway, and the kinds of things that happen to you happen to so many. So tell us, Mom, tell us your thinking here.
Okay, well, I was overjoyed for her. She did find Prince charming, and I had vetted him in advance, so I can vouch for that. And seriously, I was incredibly, incredibly happy for her and incredibly shocked that she didn't just instantly buy into my vision of the wedding. I actually managed, surprise, surprise, to raise a daughter with a mind of her own. And even more surprising, she found a groom who had a mind of his own. And so we had all these really strong personalities running in different directions. And And I loved the process of writing this book because it was really our therapy. We got to go back over things and say, you know what, our hearts were in the right place. Maybe our mouths were sort of running off on their own. So this book is our gift to any mom and daughter who have ever collaborated on a big project. And this is about as big as it gets, the big wedding. So this is our gift to people to help them feel normal and like they don't have to learn everything that's in all the how-to books. They just need to remember that all we need is love.
Okay,
you can tell how abnormal we felt because we were both just so focused on you're normal, but it's true. I mean, it really does make you feel like a complete outcast from society when you don't hear other people going through these difficult times as well.
Well, you know, a lot of times you just don't hear about them. Were both family sides involved, or was this you know, the woman's side ran the show? My family, my mom and I are incredibly domineering and controlling, and so the fact that, you know, Dave's family was even present at the event is a pretty big deal. But actually, no, we really made sure to make sure that they felt included and loved and cherished as they are and as they were while we were planning the wedding. The good news is that Dave's mom and his dad and his siblings too are she's a saint. Like, she's Mother Teresa, and she had no opinion other than do whatever makes you happy. So luckily, you know, she wasn't a fourth voice in the whole thing, you know, raising the level of contention. But no, she was really, really laid back and wonderful through the whole thing. And actually, she and my mom are now really, really good friends, and they went to France together, and yeah, they love each other. That's beautiful. Yeah. That's that's a big comment that she said, you know, do what you think is right. And because it does get to be involving, it's complicated, it's a significant expense depending on how you go about it. And it sounds to me, because some of the kinds of people, if you're, you know, testing your hair before and you're checking this and you're checking all those things, you know, some people just kind of like hit the beach and get somebody like me and it's over. But they don't even make it out of where you get the marriage certificate, right? They do it right there. So there's different levels of this whole kind of an experience. So what are some of the things that you would suggest for people getting married, and especially, you know, as it comes up, and Valentine's Day is coming up. So what are some good thoughts here?
You know, my very first advice to all newly engaged women, and I'm kind of an age where nearly all of my friends, it seems, are getting engaged, is very tactical, but I think that every bride should have this line memorized, and that is, I'm just so excited to be engaged that I haven't thought about that yet. And that is a response to any question from who are your bridesmaids going to be, to when are you getting married, to what are you serving, to, you know, what kind of religious ceremony are you going to have, everything and in between, because I think that a lot of brides feel pressure to start answering those questions immediately. And not only do you not want to commit yourself to something that you haven't had a chance to really think through, but especially for things like asking your bridesmaids, or, you know, talking to your parents about which one of them will walk you down the aisle, or talking about the budget for the wedding, you want to go into it with gratitude and an acknowledgement of how much this all means to you, and make sure that you treat it with that kind of respect and make it special for the people involved. You know, I kind of write about this in the book. The way I asked my bridesmaids was just horrendous. I mean, one of them I asked on instant message when she was in a work meeting. My two best friends, I actually said to them, well, I want you to be my bridesmaids, but since you're so close to me and you're like my best friend, I know that you won't have your feelings hurt if I have to ask you to not be my bridesmaids, because I feel like I have to ask other people. It was horrible.
Susan, you raised a very straightforward daughter.
She definitely is. She's brutally
like
honest,
it is.
And I think actually that's part of the appeal of this book, is that She is not going to pull any punches. She'll tell it like it is, as do I, which is surprising because my fiction is so romantic and, such escapism. This is a real dose of reality, as you can tell from the cover art on the book. I urge your listeners to go check it out at howiplanedyourwedding.com to see some of the pictures from the wedding and links to buy the book and links to our Facebook and Twitter and all that. By the way, I'm Facebooking and Twittering live as we go along on this interview, so hopefully that will add a little dimension.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I know you are speaking with a lot of people here. Let me ask let me start with Elizabeth. What's good news for you, Elizabeth?
What's good news for me? Good news is waking up with my husband by my side and my little dog at my feet and my mom on the other line of the phone waiting for me to call and wake her up, even if it's the crack of dawn for her.
You two are tight. Susan.
Yeah, we are.
That's beautiful. That's great.
Well, and it won't surprise you to know that my good news is I can wake up in the morning and look across the body of water in front of my house and actually see my mother's house. Now that's scary, isn't it?
Oh, no, it's so beautiful. Wow, that's so gorgeous. What a beautiful. It's a beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I'm blessed too because my daughter and her mom.
So much.
You're all blessed. It's a beautiful thing. It's a gorgeous thing. All right. Thanks so much, Susan and Elizabeth. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you,
Paul. It's been a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure speaking to you. Take care. We'll speak again. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.